Hey everyone, welcome to the next episode of Lessons from the Tank. This week I have Rebecca Romanucci from DynoSafe. She was a recent Shark Tank winner and got a deal with Robert. She is going to talk to us about how important it is to ask for help and also be willing to help along this journey that you're taking as an entrepreneur. I hope that you get something from it because I know I did. So welcome, Rebecca. Thank you so much for being part of the podcast. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. Thank you for inviting me, Joe. It means so much to me that you would have me on your show.
I am so excited to talk with you. I had a little glimpse of your Shark Tank journey, as you were going through, and I was so proud to see you on the show and how you did. And before I spoil anything, can you tell the listeners, what your product is and how Shark Tank went for you, all that fun stuff?
Sure. So my product is DynoSafe. It's a climate-controlled smart container that secures to your home, either your front porch, side of your house, or even in your garage. And it provides the opportunities to secure all deliveries from theft. But because it is temperature controlled, it is the only patented container that secures, protects perishable items like medication, groceries, perishable items from the elements. So it's
I
DynoSafe.
I have to tell you, when I heard about this, I was blown away because, again, I think anybody can put a refrigerated box on the front porch, but what you're talking about is next level. I mean, you're talking about you know um, Amazon delivery drivers being able to open it up with a code or with an app or something, put stuff in, and it's temperature control. I mean, it's so ingenious. How did you come up with the idea?
Many years ago, my husband is a surgeon, but he's also in the military. So he was on one of his tours. It was right after 9/11, actually, and he was a commander of a unit out in Afghanistan. And when he returned, I noticed a lot of the extreme brokenness of the soldiers and their families. And my husband even suffered a little PTSD where it was difficult for him to go to Walmart or the grocery store, and have someone come up behind him. And, it was so he was uncomfortable with that. So I thought, our veterans are some of the last people to ever ask for help. And they want to be independent and do things for themselves. So I thought a container that would be secure, but also protect things that they need every day: food, medicine, those kind of things. So that's sort of where it started. And then in 2017, we moved to Arizona a little bit before that. And my mother's a diabetic, and she has insulin delivered to her, and
Hmm.
they'll leave it on her porch, and it's 115 degrees outside. So I kind of started moving forward with the idea. In my prior business, I had a, a medical type business, and I sent a product to a customer, and she claimed she never received it. And so, of course, Amazon has already set the precedent now that, so of course, I pulled off another $500 worth of products, and I sent that to her too.
Hmm.
And then one of my nurses receives a phone call from the porch pirate who actually stole the product. And my nurse gave them a full refund, not knowing that it was stolen product. So we were out $1,000.
Oh my.
And when all of that happened in 2017, I just thought, you know what, if this hasn't been done, if someone hasn't already got the patent, I'm going to. And so that was my first step. So I went from there. And then natural things in the market were to my advantage. Um, Amazon purchased Whole Foods, which just meant all grocery needs to start thinking about delivering groceries. And then, of course, the coronavirus just catapulted us, years ahead of where we would have been.
So one of the things that I like about your story is you saw a need, and this is pretty much universal of a lot of the Shark Tank entrepreneurs that we've seen something out there that is broken or is missing, and we said somebody should be doing this, and I guess that person's me because apparently no one else is going to do it, and so I mean. has that been part of your personality all along, or was this just like this need was so great that you were like, if no one's going to do it, it's going to be me.
Right. I think as the best entrepreneurs that I've spoken with and that I've been around have to be passionate about their product. They have to have a pain point that really hurt them
Hmm.
that they want to create a solution to. And everyone around me was being affected by the fact that you couldn't receive perishable items to your home, and it becomes your baby in that vein, I guess.
Sure.
So it's more than just an opportunity for me to make money. It's something that I'm extremely passionate about bringing to market for reasons so much deeper and wider. So,
One
yeah.
of the things I got asked after going on the show was, "Do they try to make you cry?" Because a lot of people do, right? They get on there and they
Yeah.
are so passionate. And I think that it's a culmination of a couple things. It's the nerves of going on the show. It is the excitement of being there. But then there's just this passion that leaks out, and with some people, it just naturally comes across as tears. But
Yeah.
but yeah,
I
I tell people, I'm like, no, they really like that's what happens is what happens. They don't try to lead you down one way or another, but it
Right.
is, to your point, the true entrepreneurs are so passionate that it just has to be expressed in some way.
That's
And
right. Yeah. Oh, I think that there are some things that they do deliberately for the TV moment. But as you already know, it's 50% about your business and 50% or more about, the opportunity, the drama, your story.
yeah,
And if you, as the producers work with you over the year long journey to actually being filmed, they get to know you and your personality, and they want to, of course, they're concerned about, is it going to be something that their viewers want to see, or will it come across a little bit boring? So I believe that there is some backstaging things that they do to kind of bring up that drama moment. They already have questions that they feed into certain sharks' ears to ask, because they think that that will get the person to react. But Joe, since you brought that up, because I've watched every single episode, when I was preparing to be on Shark Tank,
hmm,
I think you did some of this too. Maybe not all the episodes, but I got a notebook. This is how
right,
focused I was, and I was taking notes. I even statistics. I said how many got it. When what was the average bid? What was the average personality that comes across that gets Mark mad?
okay,
How to get a negative reaction out of Barbara. And Lori, she's the sweetest, lovely, business person, but occasionally you can get her mad too.
right,
If certain things that you do. So I paid attention to all those things. In that road, I also paid attention to some people. I believe, and there's been articles written about this. I believe some people believe if they do cry, they have a better opportunity of getting a deal. Maybe there was a season early on that was true. Maybe the producers would put that person on because they hoped that that would happen because they would get more viewers. It is more exciting.
more
But I
drama,
think
yep,
as we've matured in season 11 and 12, um, that it's not necessarily true. Barbara gets upset. Like, what's the crying about? Either you're here to do business or not. Stop the crying. And there's some people. I got the feeling that they were crying sort of on purpose, but it comes across that way.
right.
um, if it's not genuine, and all of a sudden you just think crying is going to sway them, and it doesn't usually. But yeah, I was very afraid that I was going to do that ugly cry. So I was like, just don't cry, just don't cry.
Well,
But
and it's funny too because and to your point, a little behind the scenes, the producers do help you with your pitch and your story and stuff like that. They 100% do, and I think they saw early on that I had a lot of passion for my company, but it wasn't like I was saving lives with our product. Where again, something like what you're doing, you have a personal connection with what you're doing. Where again you had um, family members who were affected by this, and their lives could be better based off of what you were doing. Um,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
again, one of the things that a lot of people probably don't realize is that as Shark Tank entrepreneurs, we're now part of this kind of tight knit family of people that have walked down that long hallway, and we get to talk to a lot of different entrepreneurs as well that have gone through similar experiences, and you can definitely tell with their personalities, like, oh, you probably cried in your episode, didn't you? So, um, but but
Yeah.
so how have things been since since you aired? So it's you aired not that long ago, actually. So few months now, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
April 4th. Yeah. April 3rd, I think. It was Good Friday. So just almost 2 months ago.
are you
Yeah.
are you uh, are you still getting recognized when you go out?
No, I don't think I'm recognized. And with coronavirus, maybe that's a little bit of the difference,
You have a
but
mask on.
um, yeah, but I do have people who I go to my kids' school for some reason. Oh, I saw your episode, that kind of thing. So it's exciting. It really is. But um, it's I think it is everything I thought it would be. I think when people are, and you shared this with me because you did befriend me before I aired, and um, I think you go on with a purpose. You have to have, they're obviously using you for TV ratings.
Hmm.
It's an equal relationship. You're using them for a reason too. I would have loved to have had a deal, of course, with just Mark. That was my dream. I'm being completely honest. I got a deal with Robert and Mark, and I had another offer from Kevin. Um, but my purpose, since I'm pre-revenue, I my purpose was to grow my awareness of my
Hmm.
product, of my mission, what I'm doing. And so with that in mind, I knew if I took a deal, and I'm not trying to sound facetious at all. I knew if I had a deal made on the show that I would have a better opportunity of airing.
Sure.
So that doesn't mean I'm being dishonest in my genuine, acceptance of the TV deal. I was happy to do that. And of course, you complete due diligence after the show, both on both sides. I was asking Robert questions, he's asking me questions, and so it doesn't necessarily go through right away. In your case, if I'm wrong, it was a year or so later, that perhaps you went through with your deal, but so that process is painful. Especially when you're at a point in my business where you can't entertain other opportunities if they were to come your way. So
Right.
you get the recognition, but then you can't entertain. And if you even have an offer come your way, you have to share that with the shark that you've made a deal with. So it's an awkward situation. I don't think many people get to experience.
It is, and again, for everybody that's listening that maybe wants a little insight, when you get on the show and you get a deal, it's a we'll call it a little bit more than a handshake deal, but it would be like two people in a restaurant sitting down and going, "Hey, let's be in business together." And here's a really rough idea of how we're going to structure this. It gets really serious once lawyers get involved, and that's where to your point, the due diligence and things like that. It did take us about 6 months of due diligence back and forth till we finished our deal, and so it does take a long time. And again, some of it depends. Sometimes the pre-revenue deals are tougher, and sometimes the ones where you have a mature business are tougher. It just depends on what the sharks see and what you want to do as an entrepreneur as far as partnering with them long term. But you got the recognition. I mean, I have to imagine that you opened up some eyes for sure in the retail industry, especially companies that are delivering or want to deliver to the home, but they have problems with temperature controlling and stuff like that. So, has it been everything that you thought it would be as far as that side of the business?
It in some ways it's been more than I thought it would even be. I have had really large retailers reach out to me. They're business strategy people, and so we're in discussion with multiple people. But yeah, it definitely put it in their radar.
Hmm.
And on one hand, it's uh, one large, super large box company knows that this other one is also seeing the same opportunity and who's
Right.
going to be first. And so there's a lot of strategy. It definitely provided a tremendous amount of opportunity that I wouldn't have had any other way. I was already going to really large conventions and presenting. I even presented at CES and
Oh, no kidding. I didn't realize that.
grocery shop, and so you get some awareness there. But this definitely elevated it. I even have quite a lot of uh, people reaching out from Eastern Europe, which I never would have had it not been for this opportunity.
Well, that's fantastic, and I know you're probably under NDA with a lot of the things you're doing. I can tell just the way you're kind of talking around some
Yeah.
stuff. So I am so confident that you are going to, like I said, as soon as I heard this, I knew that this was going to be something special. So I'm sure that
Yeah.
you're going to end up with, some huge retail deal that's just, you're going to retire and own an island somewhere. But um, so the whole point of this podcast, though, is we want to talk about some of the things that we've learned as Shark Tank entrepreneurs through this journey. Because a lot of times, what I think happens with us, I just talked to somebody about it today. We grow up really, really fast as business people when going on that show. You just have to. The opportunities come really, really fast. The obstacles come even faster sometimes. And I think that we learn lessons faster than we would have if we were just doing this on our own without the attention. So, what are some of the things? What is one of the lessons from the tank that
Yeah.
you've pulled out of your experience?
So, I mean, right off the bat, they're giving you papers and forms, even as you're going through the process to see if that you're going to get to have the trip to where they're filming. It's a year-long process, and it's contracts and papers and forms that they need, and it's things that some of which I've not had to ever do before. I would have imagined that as I was getting closer to closing a deal with a venture capitalist, I would have had to have all those type of documents in place,
Hmm.
more than just a business plan, an executive summary and explanation of every single check you've written, background checks on everybody. And it kind of opens my eyes anyway to, you know, if I were to go into a deal, let's just use, for example, Amazon or Walmart, they're going to be doing the same thing. They don't want to go into business with somebody who has a questionable background. Even they'll have those questions, and I wasn't aware. But it's just the depth of everything, and uh, because they did ask for those things, we had to hire a team of people to help us put all those together and make sure that we're accurate and provide them with everything. And then they come back with questions and wanting more. I mean, that cycle seemed to never end.
Right.
And so, it definitely expedited everything in my mind. Of we were here. I almost complacent. We were comfortable.
Hmm.
I wasn't making progress though, but I was there and I was comfortable. And then we jumped ahead, and then you have to start contemplating, what does my website look like? What if I get an influx of viewers? What am I going to do with that? Because I am pre-revenue. Why am I driving everybody to my website? So I had to think of a way. What am I going to turn that into? And just everything, being aware of what you say on TV
Oh,
and
that's
how that's
huge.
going to, yeah, impact you. And, you know, um, one of the things that I'm living with, but I'm living with well, I take it all in stride, is how nervous I was on the show. And, just to give a little history to that is, because of COVID, we were in a hotel room for almost 2 weeks, and we couldn't even walk out into the hallway. You had to stay in the room. because of coronavirus. And we had, multiple corona tests and all of that. And, your family's not there, and you had a phone and your computer, but you really were out of touch with everybody. And so we're constantly practicing the pitch that the producers prefer us to do. And so they do have our input, but they do for their reasons, and I'm accommodating that because it's their show. They
Sure.
know what'll work best, and it's fine. But the night before, they take all my husband's lines and give them to me. And so now I'm like, okay, I've got this. I can do this. And so I'm practicing and practicing. We got it. And of course, we have to get up at like 4 or 5 in the morning and be down there. And you have to have all your makeup already done. And it's not like they're doing all of that for you with coronavirus, I guess. But so then they decided to change the lines for whatever reason. And in retrospect, I think, again, I didn't have enough drama. And I hadn't really demonstrated to them a lot of, emotion, like crying or to the producers. So I think they wanted to mix it up a little. And so, I go out there, and of course I get stuck in that spot. But my husband and I had already created this, what, if you get stuck, just do something funny, and I'm like, okay. So of course, when that happened, I went, line, please, like
Right.
someone's going to give me a line, so Mark is like leaning back and just clapping and thinks it's hysterical, and I'm dying inside, just, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm doing this. So I tried again, and I get stuck again right there. And my husband is so sweet, he starts saying the line to me. It's like da 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 da, and I'm like, oh my gosh, just say the line, let's get through this. So anyway, we finally get through it, and Mark stands up and gives us a standing ovation. But, so right afterward, and I don't know if you saw this as well right after you aired, but, my family and I, because of coronavirus, we just had a small group in our home watching it together. And we're all Googling, hey, to see if we can see any reactions. And of course, there were. One of the immediate ones was, basically lady who falls apart on, Shark Tank. And a lot of people say, oh, I would never have given her a deal because she couldn't even remember her lines, and, and all of that. And, I'm laughing because if they only knew, but it's like, oh, well, it's still the whole opportunity. I'm glad I'll be remembered for something, right? I mean, I didn't lie. I didn't fake cry. I was genuine and transparent. And, I think forever you'll be able to Google lady who fell apart on Shark Tank, and it'll be me.
I remember
Yeah.
one of our staff members she loves Reddit, and she's like, you're trending on Reddit. And I'm like, and then I'm like telling myself, like, don't read it, don't read it, don't read it, because, and I hate to say this, but we put ourselves out there, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And we go out and we put it all, like literally, just like every single person, you leave it all out there. You
Yeah.
fight for your company, you fight for your family, you're fighting, and invariably you mess up. There's things
Yeah.
that like we had people, like, because I said something about a hammer, and the producers actually wanted me to use a rubber mallet because it was something with safety and stuff like that. And that's what I was doing the demonstration, and people were like, why would you lie and say that that's a hammer? And I'm like, oh, come on, like, really, this isn't like, it's TV, like but
Yeah.
but people just want to tear apart somebody that puts themselves out there.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah.
sad.
But
But
that goes back to, I think, that the spirit of an entrepreneur.
yep.
It's the risk you have to take. I mean, if I just wanted to live my life and be comfortable in my shell and the persona I want people to believe about me, I would never do this. The moment you do this podcast, people are going to say, yeah, you're great. And then others are going to be quick to recognize your humanness.
Right.
Oh, you said this, you used this word wrong. Oh, you can't even use good English. Whatever people choose to say. And it's crazy, but it's the whole package. And you know what? I celebrate that we're human. And, if I would have to exert so much energy to be perfect, and
And we would
I
still
don't
fall
know if
short.
yeah, we all do. But I don't know if you had to do this. I assumed everybody did, but right after you're being filmed,
Hmm.
you walk off the stage. You don't walk back in. I mean, that's one thing I think I assumed early on when I was watching Shark Tank is that's just fake that they're walking out the door. They actually turn around and make the deal right there. I mean, all of these, but you walk out and they do some post production. How did you feel when
Hmm.
this happened and whatever. But then you go to a psychologist into a room, or I did, or, we did.
Oh no,
And
yeah, this is one of
yeah.
those, for people that are listening, this is one of those things that Shark Tank does not want you to talk about. So this is one of those secrets. So
Oh, okay,
no, no,
okay.
no,
Well,
let's spill it. Why don't, well, let's
well,
let's see if we can get
I think
Sony
I've
Pictures
read
to.
about it. I think I've read about it somewhere, so that's the only reason I think I would bring it up. But the only point I'm making is I think everybody should do this right afterward, because you immediately are beating yourself up. You're thinking, okay, billions of people are going to see me, and what did I just embarrass my family? All of these things are going through your head. And the thing that really stood out to me is the person said, uh, I was going, oh, I wish I had said this. Oh, I wish. And he said, you can't do that in life, because if the moment, what if you had made it perfectly through your pitch, they may have not have had as much compassion for you. They may not have, so don't beat yourself up about that. And then it was like, oh, I wish I had said more about my patent and really explained it better, and all of that. And he's like, and they would have done something different too.
Right.
So don't beat yourself up. Anything you think, oh, I wish I had done better, it would have changed the whole outcome. And, I walked away with just that. Hey, you know what? If people like it, if people want to criticize me, if people want to make fun of me, you know what? I did it. I accomplished this. And I'm not taking any of it back. You know, I was there for an hour and 15 minutes or so in front of them with my husband, and they show 8 minutes of it, and it's like, why those 8 minutes? But it's a TV show, and you walk into it with that knowledge. So they're going to build up all the drama before the commercial and make you look really out of control.
Dun dun
Like, oh,
dun.
is she going to run out of there with her arms flailing? She's about to fall apart. I mean, they showed me with my hand, I was like doing this with my hands. I was so nervous. And, afterward, what they didn't show was the conversation where my husband and I finally said, hey, look, you're deliberately talking over each other. You're interrupting each other. You're not letting me explain my patent. And I had to, I wasn't mad, but I had to finally say, knock it off.
Hmm.
Please let me say this one time. And they did. And so the thing that they show after the commercial is that they heard what I said, but they didn't play what I said. So it's like the audience doesn't get to hear how I changed the momentum.
Right.
All they know is all of a sudden Robert and Mark are interested, and they're changing their offers, and but I still look like a nervous wreck. But it's all good. It's what you sign up for.
It
you
is,
know
and I, I
yeah.
I have to tell, I watched your episode as it was coming out, and I was really proud of you. I really
uh,
was, and you could definitely tell you're nervous. But again, anybody that thinks you're going to go into that situation and not want to pee their pants and run out of the room is lying to themselves. They just
That's right.
are. Like there's just nobody
Yeah.
that is that cool that there's going to go in there in that situation and not be, very close to being petrified.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
now that we've done it though, I feel like I could
Yeah.
do just about anything. Like,
I would love to be invited back. Give me another chance, but I think that's what they want you to feel
mhm.
is, man, that was tough. But if you would just give me another chance, I'll show everybody I can do this. And, so you look at you with the opportunity to go back and be able to share how your business has progressed tremendously. But, obviously, you carry tremendous respect up from the producers as well as the sharks. And because not many people get invited back to do what are they up to now? And there's companies that have made more money with or without the sharks. There's other companies they could have focused on. but they bring back the ones I think where they truly love the person's character, and that you actually represent what the show is trying to do, the American dream.
Oh, thank
You
you.
know,
I
you
appreciate
come
that.
from, yeah, you work hard and you get these accomplishments, and you live an honest life as best you can, and yeah,
Well,
so you definitely represent that.
well, thank you so much. I appreciate
Yeah,
that. So, what else? We're kind of down to the last couple of minutes here. What
sure.
else would you like to put out there? What are some other wisdom that we could bestow on all of the listeners?
Yeah, well, if we're I think one of the things that Shark Tank also did was help me recognize what is it about entrepreneurs that um, make them survive, make them, withstand the long road, no matter what comes to it. I kind of picture it as you've always got to be on your toes like a basketball player.
Hmm.
If you lean back on your heels, you're too comfortable and you slow down. But Shark Tank kind of showed me some of the characteristics that successful entrepreneurs share. And it's something I had a hard time with is asking for help. I'm really uncomfortable with that. And in fact, that'll make me cry quicker than anything is having to ask for help and being so frustrated at, the fact I can't do this myself just really frustrates me. But, entrepreneurs have to be comfortable with reaching out to each other because you've accomplished things and have all that experience that I don't, and if I'm going to struggle the whole way, I'm not going to succeed as quickly or at all. Another thing is giving back. I
Mm.
mean, so you recognize in yourself, how it is hard to ask that when you see someone else struggling, a successful entrepreneur is quick to say no, not, hey, I want to rescue you. It's, hey, let me give you a hand. Let me help you go, reach up to the next level. And not enabling them, but just empowering them. And it's a fine line. And there's a lot of entrepreneurs who just want to be rescued. And, but there's a lot who just want to share your wisdom, to share your experience, to just say, what did you do when you were in this situation? And you're a great example of that. You're constantly doing that, like with this podcast, but also our entire relationship leading into Shark Tank. And I you know you were very quick to lend a shoulder, if anything, just to listen to my current situation, and encourage me to keep going.
Well, and I do think that the entrepreneurs that last, number one, are to your point, are not afraid to ask for help. I mean, I don't know one successful person that is self-made. I really don't. They have support people around them, people that they've asked, especially early on. Any of us that think that we know what we're doing, we're fooling ourselves.
Yeah.
We really, really are. And my journey with FlexScreen is a bunch of people doing exactly what you're saying. Not let me rescue you, but let me grab your hand and we're going to do this together, and help you get over this hump that you need to get over. Or let's find a way around this mountain instead of trying to keep pounding your head to go through it. Those types of
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
To your point, I think that I've probably learned more as an entrepreneur actually helping other people, because there's just something about that. There really is. Even though you might not have all the answers, but going, hey, look, I'll be here for you. I will. Maybe I've been there and done that a little bit, or maybe I've made a really bad mistake that I don't want you to make. Um,
Yeah.
but I do think that locking arms with somebody is one of the most powerful things that any person can do personally. But then especially if you want to have a successful business, I think that's amazing advice.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. You're right. You got it.
yeah, and I had mentioned it before. We as Shark Tank entrepreneurs have a group that we meet up and we bounce stuff off of each other, and we're really a tight knit community that helps each other out. I had no idea such a thing existed, but we're like these foxhole brothers. We all been through the war, and now we're there for each other, and that group's amazing. It really is.
Yeah.
Um,
And what's great is it started from the beginning with Tiffany Crimmins.
mhm.
I know her first name.
Yep.
She's like a movie star to me. She's been there from the beginning, season one, and just very passionate about her product as well as the Shark Tank group. And it took someone like her. I don't know if she's the one who started it. Whoever it is, I apologize that I don't know. But it's always been a level way up here. It's very strict rules. What you can and can't do, and it's not there for slamming or any of that kind of thing. It's there for a purpose of helping each other and being enlightening to next steps and preventing us from making mistakes that others have already made, and sharing connections. I mean, it's just a very powerful group, and yeah, I'm very excited to be a part of it.
Yeah, and I guess for those that are listening, if we as Shark Tank entrepreneurs, people that the perception is we have the world all figured out because we were on the TV show. If we have this group of people that helps to continue building us up, how much more does everybody else need that as well? So find somebody that you can go on this journey with, and that maybe somebody that's further ahead of you on the journey, and now also somebody that's a little bit further behind, so that you guys are doing this whole thing together. So that's incredible advice, and I think that it will serve anybody that's listening to this. It will serve them very well.
I think you're right. I agree. It's definitely helped me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being part of this. I'm honored that you were willing to come on and talk with us. And again, I am so proud of everything that you've accomplished and everything that I know you're going to do in the future. And I can't wait to get one of these on my front porch. So I hope that I get like the second or third one. I hope you're like, hey, Joe, they're going into mass production. You get your name on one. So,
yeah, yours will have a big bow on it.
Well, I appreciate it. So. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Oh, I'm so honored, and thank you for inviting me. It touches me. It really means a lot to me that you would ask me to join you. So.
My pleasure. Thanks.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Lessons from the Tank. If you got value from today's podcast, we encourage you to subscribe to the podcast so you're notified when a new episode is posted. If you'd like to support our podcast, we encourage you to review it and share it with a friend. Thank you, and we'll see you on the next episode.